Bonjour guys, welcome back to the FE Success Stories, and thanks to every one of you that come back each week to listen, learn and discover the success stories of our students. Our goal with these interviews is to introduce you to students that pass the FE exam and share the FE experience with you so that you can pass your FE exam as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Today I'm here with a special guest, Mahbub, who graduated in 2018 with a mechanical engineering degree from New York. He took the FE mechanical twice before he passed it, and in today's video he's going to share with us his experience. But also, Mahbub's story is different. He went through a lot of hardship, and I really hope his story is going to inspire you guys to pass your FE exam. Mahbub, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be with you today and to
Thank you.
interview you of my story of passing the FE exam.
Okay, great. I'm really excited to have you here. Now, why did you decide to take the FE?
I decided to take the FE because, first of all, I was working for a civil engineering company. I was working for the New York State Department of Transportation. And after getting employed in DOT, I had to take their civil service exam. Because at that time the government wasn't offering the civil service exam to people. They didn't know when it was gonna be released. So I took it when the government released the civil service exam. And like I didn't want to for state jobs to enter the engineering path, you have to pass your FE. If you don't pass your FE, you're gonna have to keep taking civil service exams once it once they release it every year. And like it's a very hassle to keep taking exams every year. So I just wanted to like take one exam, get into the engineering career path, and um not have to keep taking exams. And
Okay.
another reason I also wanted to pass my FE is because I'm going through a lot of adversity in life. So helping passing my FE will open up more opportunities for me. Both my parents passed away, and I have to provide for my siblings and pay all the household expenses. So passing my FE would be very beneficial to me in my career and in the long run.
I'm really sorry to hear about your parents. I know we talked about it a little bit before we started this interview, and I think it's really amazing how you really went on and so passed your FE exam, even everything that happened, especially because it was kind of like recent, especially with your dad. I do want to ask you though, like, how did you find that motivation to like keep going? Because like you mentioned, we talked about this yesterday in the meetups when we met with the students, and that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like, how did you find that motivation to keep going?
Well, finding motivation is a very tough thing to do. Like there, I used to be well, not depressed, but like very like I needed hope to like study each and every day. Like you need to have a very strong desire. And something that I realized was that my desire to pass that FE was not like at the beginning, it was not very strong, but later on, as I was going through many adversities in life, and I really needed a job to support my family. Like my desire to pass that FE became much stronger.
Hmm.
And yeah, motivation. Like we're all humans. Nobody like I don't think anybody could, unless you're very passionate about engineering, would want to like study each and every day. Like I was studying for the FE for 18 months, and um motivating myself to study each and every day for 18 months, like I couldn't do it. Like there were some days like I just didn't feel like studying, or just woke up and not wanted to study. But then again, like I exercised, I help relax my mind. And once I did those things, I went back to studying. And I'm not the best. I'm not really good at studying either. um, I find it very like my attention span is very low. Like I can't focus for many period of time. As you mentioned a lot that when you're studying, it's more about quality than quantity. You would recommend students to study for less amount of time, but like retain the information. So that's something that I had to work on. Like all of this that I'm saying, like I worked on it over a long period of time, and building up to the FE exam, I took all the preparations and all the stuff that I'm saying right now, like it actually uh, helped and came through when I was taking my exam.
Awesome. Now, tell us a little bit about your FE journey. So you took the FE exam twice. When was the first time you took it?
I took it August 2020, and my last time that I took it was this March.
Okay. So you took
Yeah.
it March 2021. So from October 2019, you've been in this journey. Did you feel like when you were studying for your FE, did you feel like you struggled through that because you missed a lot
Yeah,
from
I
college?
struggled. I definitely struggled through it. My first 5 months, my first 5 months, I used to look at a problem and I did not know which formula to use in the reference book. This reference book is has a lot of pages, it's a lot of formulas. You have to, when it comes to the exam, you have to read the problem and know which formula to use, and that's very tough. In the heat of the exam, you have to read the question once and know which formula to use because you have only about 3 minutes to spend on each question. So yeah, definitely that was a huge struggle for me. My first few months, I used to come from work. I used to work 7.5 hours a day, and then I used to drive 132 miles back and forth home, and like studying, like I couldn't give 100% of my effort to studying because I was very exhausted. And yeah, like, and that did show up in my studies because yeah, for 5 months, like I was studying off the Lindbergh book. I did I did all the chapters, but like I scheduled the FE exam after like 4 months first time, but then I kept pushing it back because I didn't feel prepared. Like when it was like time for me to take the exam, I used to look at a question and not know what formula to use, and that's not a good indication.
So for the second attempt, how many hours did you study per week or per day?
Okay, each day I studied it. I attempted to study each and every day, um, 5 to 6 hours.
5 to 6 hours. So you did that from August 2020 all the way to March 2021. You studied
Yeah.
5 to 6 hours with no break, even Saturdays and
I mean,
Sundays.
yeah, I did. Like in the middle, I used to study. I used to divide my day into two parts. In the morning, I used to study for like 2 hours. Um, uh, Not take a break, but like eat, take a shower, go outside, exercise, then come back and study,
Oh,
like from 7 o'clock to until 2 a.m. But there was a lot of distractions in the middle because, like, you know how in your house, like, you can't focus. There's a lot going on. So, yeah, like I'm a very slow learner. I can't manage my time very well either. So, yeah, like usually, I used to like just go on in my own pace.
okay. So it's really great because like you already kind of like know what kind of learner you are. So you already
Yeah.
know you're a slow learner, and so you already kind of like accepting it. Like we were talking about this yesterday as well, like how I'm a slow learner, and if you are, you should just accept it and just work with it instead of trying to
Yeah.
fight it, right? So another thing you brought up was the earlier you said that you have small uh, span, right? Attention span, so you can't really sit for hours to kind of like study. But here you are doing 2 hours, 5 hours a day. Tell us a little bit about like how did you get to that point where you could sit and do those, like
Okay,
even 2 hours. That's a lot for
okay.
someone who has small span
So
attention span.
first of all, when I was working, I used to come from work and study. So at that time, I used to study from like 7 to like 10 o'clock, and then I had to like wake up in the morning. So at that time, like while I was studying, like I used to like fall asleep, and because I was very exhausted, or like I was not grasping the material well enough. Like I was uh like I was looking at the solution a lot, like I didn't know what was happening in the problem. However, like once the pandemic hit and everybody had to work from home, eventually I got laid off. Like at that time, like I was studying more, and like that time, like I had more time to devote to studying, because I was working from home, and like eventually like I was laid off, so like all I was doing was just studying for the exam. For me, I can't work and do a job and come home and study at the same time. It's like
Mm.
um if you do one thing at a time, you're more focused in it instead of doing multiple things at once. So for me, like working and studying, like it's really tough to do, and I couldn't handle it. So uh, when I like stopped working and like started studying, like that's when I really recognized the progress that I was making, and my attention span, it also developed. I used to exercising and meditation, that also helped me become more focused, and like yeah, and like I also learned that when you put a lot of when you're alert, that's very important. Make sure when you study you're very alert. If you're not alert, then you're not gonna your attention span's not gonna be as great. So make sure you're alert, you're not hungry, and start studying when you feel that you're gonna give 100% to it, not anything less. The purpose of running and meditating was so I'm able to keep calm when um, I'm up against something that's unexpected, because the FE exam is very random. You don't know what they will put in the give in the exam, and um, you have to remain calm. That's something that really helped me when I passed my FE exam the second time.
Awesome. So do you feel like during the exam you felt more calm?
Yes, I
Yeah.
felt I prepared for it months prior. Like I knew that what would I do if I was if something unexpected showed up, and it it paid off.
Yeah.
All the mental preparation, it paid off, because like I'm a type of person that I'm a very bad test taker. Very bad test taker. It's like I know my concept, but like um when I get nervous, I can't like perform my best. And in the FE exam, you don't have much time, so you have to like remain calm, and so you could do your best.
Awesome. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about material. Tell us, what material did you use?
So in the beginning, I didn't like I saw your YouTube videos, but I didn't purchase your course. I was studying off the Lindbergh books, because the people that I went to school with, they mostly studied off the Lindbergh books. So those materials were passed down to me. So I started studying from them, and I bought the NCESS practice exam book from their website. So I studied off of two Lindbergh books, the first edition and the third edition. They weren't bad. They were helpful in certain topics: heat transfer, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, mechanical system design, electrical circuits. Yeah, like in my first attempt, it didn't go as well as my second attempt, but I was pretty close to, according to my diagnostics, I was pretty close to passing. However, I purchased your course after my first attempt, in like September or August after I failed my exam the first time. So your course, it made the difference between passing or failing, because the topics that I struggled in my first attempt were math, probability statistics, engineering economics, ethics, statics, mechanics of materials. So yeah, your course really helps out with those topics, and those made the difference between passing and failing for me. And yeah, your statics course, I purchased the morning bites and the statics course, and yeah, like I actually saw improvement in my performance while I was studying after learning from your course. It did make the difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really glad it's helped. And then also, because like if we go back to our discussion earlier about your experience in college, you did struggle a little bit with the first statics course. And that's actually a lot of students. That's like the most failed class. The most failed engineering class is statics, and that's because we go from physics and calculus to statics. It's like what's happening here, and a lot of people don't grasp the material fast. And here's what happens: if you struggle with statics, you get affected in mechanics of materials, and it's just like until you get to mechanical engineering, where it's like thermal and machine learning and heat transfer. That's different a little bit from statics,
Yeah.
and then a lot of students start doing much better in their classes. So that's actually really common. So I'm really glad you took those courses, and I'm really happy that they helped you with your preparation. Now, so for these sections that are more towards mechanical, for your second attempt, did you keep
Yeah.
using Linderbook book?
Yes, I for my second attempt, I went over your course around several times,
Okay.
and I continued with the Lindbergh books. But this time my strategy was that I'm not gonna study the statics, mechanics of materials, engineering economics, math, probably statistics, because I have your course for those. So I'm just gonna study the stuff that worked last time in my second time going taking the exam.
That's awesome.
So
Okay.
I just built on what I knew the first time into taking the exam the second time, and yeah, it worked.
Okay. And then did you study all subjects? Was there any specific subject that you skipped?
Yeah, measurement controls,
Okay. You
measurement
didn't
controls. Yeah,
you
though
didn't
I didn't
cover
know
it at
anything.
all.
I didn't. The funny thing was that all this exercising, this meditation, it really helped me out, because during the exam, my second attempt, I was getting those questions that I had no idea right, because I remained calm. And
Wow.
it's just amazing. Like, it's amazing how your mind functions when you're in the zone. You're very relaxed. You'll be amazed that you'll answer questions, and I knew they were correct, that you never done before.
That's great. So you did bring up like into the zone. I want to talk about that a little bit. And I think like when you are like if you try to get into that flow state or into the zone, like you said during the
Yeah,
exam, you forget about time, you forget about stress, you just like focus
forget
on
about
solving
everything
the
that's happening in
problems.
your life. You forget about everything that's happening in your life, and you just focus on what's ahead of you. There
Yeah.
was one part in during the exam. I didn't know how to do four thermodynamics questions in a row, and I didn't let that discourage me. I just kept moving on, and each um, I was just focused on the question that was in front of me. Like, I didn't care about how many questions there was. I just focused on the question that was in front of me. I executed that and just move on. If I did not know how to do a question, I would skip it, and in the end, I would flag it, skip it, and at the end I would come back to it and work on it at that time. And my strategy really worked. I'm like, very, yeah, I can't manage my time very well, but this strategy worked.
That's great. Did you take any practice exams and did you try that method before you went into the
Yes,
exam?
I have I bought two NCSS books.
Mhm.
There's one for a recent one, July 2020, and then I bought the previous one. I took these two, and I took from the Lindbergh books. There were some practice exams at the back of the Lindbergh book. I took those. I took those practice exams. The first time I took the FE exam, that's when I really took the practice exams. Second time around, I did not take a practice exam at all. Like I just didn't feel like taking it because like I didn't want to waste my because each like if you were to take a practice exam, that's like 100 questions, and like I didn't want to burn myself out during the exam. And one thing that I know is that the night before the exam, I can never get a good night's sleep. I didn't have a good night's sleep. The night before my first attempt or the night before my second attempt. But the night before my second attempt, I prepared myself that week that I'm not gonna get a good night's sleep. So like I focused on my nutrition. I did a lot of exercising to like build up energy going into the exam with a lot of energy, so I don't feel tired. And my first attempt, I did do the full practice exams, but I noticed that I went to the exam very exhausted the first time I took it because I didn't get a good night's sleep. However, like in both attempts, um, the questions that I didn't know how to answer had nothing to do with if I like had a good night's sleep or not. Like I was well alert. My mind was focused. Um, it all came down to if I knew the concept or not. Like me not getting a good night's sleep for me that was not a huge deal. What I noticed.
Yeah. That's a great point because then a lot of people who struggle sleeping before an exam, like you don't need to stress about it because here Mahbub, like he still didn't have like a good sleep and he still was okay to pass the exam. But what's cool about your story is that you accepted. You accepted that like it's okay. I can't get a good sleep. It's
and,
okay.
and
I'll still do
very
my best.
Yeah, and it'll be very hard for you to get a good sleep because I've been studying for like 7 months for my second attempt.
Yeah.
If your 7 months of studying is gonna depend on one day, I don't blame you for not getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. And yeah, like that morning I woke up and like I didn't have a good night's sleep. I woke up and like as soon as I woke up, I went exercising because I wanted to get air flowing into my head, so I was well alert for the exam. And so I ran a couple of laps. I came home, I ate breakfast, and went to the exam. And I tried to sleep in the train, however, I couldn't sleep. And I went to the exam. I arrived like a few minutes. I mean, not few, 15 minutes late. However, the exam starts when you sign into the computer, not when
Hmm.
it's supposed to be scheduled.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came into the exam and at the beginning I was a bit nervous. First question I did not know how to do, but then um, as the exam progressed, I became a little comfortable. I was getting questions, math questions, integrals. The calculator really helped in your videos. You go over how to use your calculator. The calculator I used was the TI 36X Pro, and yeah, that calculator, yeah, like it really helped me boost my motivation because I was answering questions in 30 seconds, especially topics, probabilities, circuits,
Hmm.
and like stuff, engineering economics. The calculator really came into play and it really helped out.
Okay, awesome. Now, do you have any closing remarks for engineers who are trying to pass the FE exam?
Yeah, I do. So this exam, it's not the mentality that you have to go through while studying for this exam is this is not a short-term process. It's a very long-term process. So you have to be in the mindset that you're gonna have to struggle for many days and you don't know which attempt you will pass. So be prepared that don't be discouraged if you don't, and don't try to compete against others. Just try to compete against yourself. Uh, do better than what you did yesterday, because that will motivate you to do better. And yeah, like a lot of people that took the FE exam with me, they studied much less time than I did, and they passed. And I wish I was one of them. Like, I wanted to get past my FE as soon as possible. However, that was not the case. But you have to accept who you are and go according to your strengths, and don't compete with others, and just compete with yourself, and try to maintain be calm and maintain focus during the exam. Don't let the exam get you into a panic state of mind. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you, Mahbub. Thank you for taking the time and for sharing your experience with us today.
Okay.
Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to come back for more videos like this where students provide you with some great insights and also help you learn the best way to pass your FE exam. Now, if you guys like this video, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and make sure that you guys subscribe for new videos every week. Good luck with your studying, and I will see you soon. À la prochaine.